Hi, in this video I'll be talking about hydrologic processes and stream modifications and what they mean for your farm and flooding. So here I have the resources for farmers page, and I'm just going to go to Google Maps to get a basic understanding of the landscape we're working with. We'll be working with part of Beth Whiting and Bruce Hennessy's Maplewind farm, but it's a part of their farm that they lease along the Winooski River near Richmond. So let's zoom into Richmond and try to find it. So zooming in, it's just over here east of Richmond, and this is it. So this is their land. That's their field. And so what we can do just right away, straight off the bat, is analyze this piece of land and look for clues in the landscape that will tell us a little bit more about it. So straight away what I see are these two oxbows in the river, or two oxbows that are no longer part of the river, and it tells me that this Winooski River used to meander this way, and these used to be part of the river. So these are probably relics from when the river used to go this way before they built 89. And this also gives me a clue to that this river is straightened and kind of constrained by the highway here. So even though Google Maps is a good starting point, there's a lot of information on the web that we can see beyond this. So I'm going to go back to the Resource for Farmers handout and go up here to the Agency of Natural Resources Atlas. And so I'm just going to copy this link and paste it into my browser and then go here. And what you'll see is this Vermont Agency of Natural Resources Atlas page. And the first thing that pops up is just this notification telling me that I can't use it on Friday afternoon because they're fixing their servers. So whatever, that's fine. And this is what it looks like. So the first thing that I want you to notice is this little thing up here in the corner. And right now it's under the Rivers Management theme, and there's several other themes that you can look at. This Atlas layers, which is the default, is just, everything unchecked, and it gives you the ability to see everything. But I picked the Rivers Management theme because I think this will help the most with assessing flooding and flood risk. And there's other ones. There's wells and state lands if you want to see which agencies own what pieces of land and where. And there's a waste management, but really Rivers Management is the most important. So the second thing I want to show you is up here in this Quick Tools. If you click on it, you can, see you can print and you can zoom to places, but this toolbar is going to be the most important. So basically, it has these tabs up here. This is the most important, getting around. But you can, draw, and you can upload files if you have your own, and then you can identify things and query the database for specific details that you want to see. And there's also measurement tools, which I'll get to later. But first, let's just get around. So this is the pan tool. So if you click it and click and hold on the map and then move your mouse, it'll drag the mouse wherever you want. This one, zoom in, will zoom in. So if you pick your area of interest and drag a box, so click and then drag and make a box and then let go, it'll zoom to that area, which is pretty handy. And likewise, zoom out will zoom away from that box. And then zoom to town. This is helpful because you can type in a place and it will go there, which is very useful. So boom, Richmond right there. And then next, this is the full extent. So if you click it, it'll take you to the farthest extent of the data that is on this mapper. And so in this case, it takes us to the entire state of Vermont. And then this one is the previous extent. So since I was just in Richmond and then I changed my extent and went to the full extent, if I click it, this will take me back to Richmond. So that's very useful if you've clicked on something that, or you zoomed into something that you don't really want to be zoomed into. And this will take you right back if you make a mistake. And so let's just talk about the things you see first. So first of all, you see all these red and green dots and these red lines and blue lines. And so what these are the SGAT assessment layers, the stream geomorphic assessment layers. And so if you look over here, these are all of the layers that you can see. And these are essentially like folders. So if you press the plus sign, you'll open the folder and you can see what's in the folder. And so these SGAT assessment layers are these things. And what these are essentially tell you how far the Agency of Natural Resources is in their assessment of streams. And so it's made up of 3 phases, and the first phase, which on this stretch they've only gotten to the first phase by Beth and Bruce's field, but the first phase is only looking at satellite imagery and other remote imagery and not actually physically being on site and taking measurements. So unfortunately for us, it's not going to tell us a lot. But in other places, like here along the Huntington River, they've already gotten to phase 2, and those happen a lot more with, and those will show a lot more of these red and green dots, which just show the segments and how they broke up assessing that stretch of river. And so what these will show you, I'm going to turn it off just for now. What these will show you, the stream geomorphic assessment data, will show you these things. So if we go under the watershed protection, we can see these D-firm floodways. And these are the floodways that they've assessed. And we can turn both of them on and look at where the floodplains are. So if we go up here and zoom in, we can see that everything in red is in a floodway. And so that's important. If you think about it, actually, we can turn this tab off. When the Winooski River is going this way because it's flowing towards the lake, Lake Champlain, it wants to get there as fast as it possibly can. And even though it meanders here and farther down the river, what's important is that it wants to get there as fast as it can. And this is exacerbated in flooding situations. So when the river floods and is flowing very quickly, the fastest way to get from here to there is to cut through all this land. And that's why this field is very vulnerable right here. It's on this floodway, which is something very important to take into consideration. But unfortunately for us, they haven't done that over here along this stretch of the Winooski yet. So we don't know where the floodplain actually is until we get over here past Jonesville. So that's what all of these layers mean, and this is really just administrative to see, or maybe to help you see where they're working on the river. But don't let that deter us, because there's a lot of other layers that are going to be very helpful in this. And so those will be under this SGAT FIT layers. And I'm going to pause for just a second and restart.